Welcome back to Kin in Line, Kin Bentley in Line. This is chapter 18. So I'm in a huge bungalow in Kimberley. I managed to get some, this is during national service in about 1980. I've managed to get hold of some lined paper and sketching madly again. So I had a whole 100 people surrounding me in this bungalow, and this was just one of the guys I sketched. I rather enjoy the line quality here. I've got just pages that I've whipped out from various books and stuff that I was going to try and put together a book of drawings. So just bear with me as I go through them. I remember this guy's name, Kurt. I forget his surname, but Afrikaans chap, a delightful fellow. Always in a good mood. It's what you actually needed to get through these things. So I was writing little captions for these, for my potential book, and this was one of them. So this was going to be a chapter on writing letters. Letter writing was kind of a salvation for people. It was our main way of contacting our family back home, you know. And so people were forever writing or reading letters. You had a thing called postparade or post-parade. And during basics, they would actually make you do press-ups and so forth before you could earn your treasured letter from home. And particularly if it was from a girlfriend smelling of perfume, the more it smelt of perfume, the more press-ups you had to do. So you'll see this green paper crops up. I managed to get hold of it somewhere and assemble a little sketch pad out of it. Another guy writing a letter perched on his bed. I'm going to save these because they're from a later era. Yeah, just quite a nice quality to that face. Again, just a few lines are able to capture it. Seem to be 2 pages here. Let's see if we can. No, doesn't matter. Another chap scribbling away. This dating back to when I was still in those early army notepads. Once they got me into the media center, I was able to get more paper. And this guy, I remember his name was Solly. Very quick sketch, but yeah, full of character again. This was an interesting questionnaire, you know. Ouderdom, all in Afrikaans. I like these questions at near the bottom. Hoeveel keer was jy al in die detentiekaserne? How many times were you in the detention barracks? How many times did you escape from detention? How many times were you in the civil prison, civiele tronk? Have you committed any other criminal offences? Is jy al 'n ander misdaad, het jy al 'n ander misdaad gepleeg? Great stuff. So this was, in Kimberley, I managed to get to an amateur. We had a friend whose parents or whatever, he lived in Kimberley, and he had connections to an amateur, what would you call it? Acting, there's a word for it. Society of actors and stuff. Theatrical society, maybe. And so I was able to get in amongst civilians finally. I think this was quite a bit later on in the saga. And we had a bit more freedom. So a lot of these sketches were done there. These are actors. Full of character. Yeah. When you're doing these quick sketches, it's just not possible to capture any individual in more than just a handful of lines. You can almost see that these are thespians, They just, they may even have been made up or something, I can't remember, but it was certainly an interesting little interlude. Look at this guy, he looks like he's sort of some Shakespearean character, maybe. And this was a section now on reading. So letter writing was one thing, but the guys were also always reading newspapers, books, comics, whatever. And that's the sort of forlorn bungalow scenario, surrounded by 100 men. Little figure hunched over, reading. At least they were reading. At least they could read. My green pad that I created, just so that I could draw this guy reading. And my friend Sol, with his foreshortened big toes and feet and knobbly knees, reading and smoking his pipe. I even started smoking again for a while in Kimberley. It was so cold. It was quite nice to have a pipe to warm yourself up. Yeah. This guy crops up often. I think this is a guy called McIntyre. I think forget his first name. I think this is him. Another reader. So it's all figure drawing, life drawing. Except here I wasn't in art school, I was doing it for myself, and that was great as far as I was concerned. Sol again, with his foreshortened foot and his little muscles. And here you get a sense of the mattresses that they gave us, these foam mattresses, tilting over this edge of the steel bed as this guy reads. It was luxury, I tell you, to be there in the military. There was in the Kimberley camp at 11th Commando, that was the name of this camp for some reason. It was also known, it had another name. But there was a swimming pool there, and some of the permanent force people who ran the show had family living in a section of the base. And there was a swimming pool which we were allowed to use, and quite often the daughters of some of these people would be there. And of course that was a red rag to a bull